The theme of our lecture: Logical and Semantic Concepts, Lecture 14. Contents: the basic concepts of philosophical hermeneutics, existential phenomenological hermeneutics of Heidegger, the context and sources of philosophical hermeneutics of the 20th century. The philosophy of the 20th century has largely developed under the sign of language. Interest in the problem of communication unites the most diverse philosophical trends. The differences in the approach to the language and related problems were largely determined by the desire to generalize and comprehend the different skills of speech activity. As a result, various directions of philosophy of language respectively distinguished various aspects of speech activity as dominant. Logical semantic concepts focused on the representative aspects of speech activity, that is, the ability of speech to transmit information about a certain state of affairs, regardless of the person's ability to formulate or perceive this information. Hermeneutical concepts, on the contrary, mainly focused on the reception problems, while the information coding procedure remained beyond their attention. Linguistic philosophy of late Wittgenstein and his followers mainly concentrated on the problem of speaker activity without the content of speech and the listener. In the Russian philosophical tradition, the problem of language and communication was intensively developed by Losev, philosophy of a name, and Bakhtin, philosophy of dialogue. In addition to differences in the choice of the aspects of speech activity being analyzed, the above concepts also differ significantly in the choice of analysis tools. So the logical semantic concepts were oriented mainly on the formal apparatus of logic and mathematics, as well as on the ideology of positivism. Losev on the dialectical logic and phenomenology of Husserl, and the late Wittgenstein claimed to create a special language style in its term language game, close to the practical language. Philosophical hermeneutics was based on the existing tradition of philological hermeneutics presented by the works of Schleiermacher and Dilthey, and based on the practice of interpreting biblical, legal, historical, and literary texts. At the same time, the creators of philosophical hermeneutics set a philosophical understanding of the experience gained by the hermeneutical tradition. Hermeneutics as a direction was founded by Gadamer, who noted that his concepts developed under the influence of the works Husserl and Heidegger. Husserl deals mainly with logical problems, while Heidegger devoted a lot of time to developing an original theory and practice of communication. Heidegger interpreted the term hermeneutics existentialistly, as a way of describing human existence in terms of an interpretation of the message. The central link in Heidegger's reflections on communication is language. At the same time, language becomes a kind of universal environment for existence. Language from a community created by understanding each other people turns into totality, universality, which is a condition of mutual understanding. Heidegger's attitude to language is characterized by the following points. Language as an active principle in relation to native speakers. Language as a total comprehensive beginning. Language as a space in which being is realized and truth is revealed. Heidegger understands the hermeneutic circle already not as a procedure for interpreting a text through its parts, but parts as a whole. This is how this circle was understood in classical hermeneutics, but as a relation that underlies human existence. Human existence in all its possible moods, thinking, speech, work, and so on, is the realization of the truth revealed in the present. However, not only the existence of man is the condition for the discovery of truth, but also the discovery of truth is the condition for realization of man. Heidegger uses the concept of communication as a definite model of human existence, the phenomenological consideration of which can clarify many ontological issues. According to him, this existence is not only a personal matter of an individual person, but is included in a certain total process of discovering truth in the presence, of a kind of global communication between the listening person and the speaking. The model of such an activity total being is tradition, and language can be considered as the longest and least subject to individual efforts tradition. The starting point of the existentialist philosophy of Heidegger is the category of existence. In its light, social relations in the outside world, cognitive acts and emotional reactions, social institutes, and the actions of individuals are examined. The main idea of Heidegger's phenomenology is this: human existence is the original being, the original reality, which has priority over everything that we can philosophically think about. Thank you.